Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Office Hours. Today we're going to talk about configuring BGP local preference. And this is from NetworkLessons.com. Alright, so BGP attribute local preference is the second BGP attribute, and it can be used to choose the exit path for an autonomous system. Some details are that local preference is the second BGP attribute. You can use local preference to choose the outbound external BGP path. Local preference is sent to all internal BGP routers in your autonomous system. It's not exchanged between external BGP routers. Local preference is a well-known and discretionary BGP attribute. Default value is 100, and the higher the value, the more it's preferred. Alright, looks like we have an example here where there's 4 autonomous systems, and router 2, or autonomous system 1, is multi-home to AS2 and AS4, and the local preference on R2 is higher than R3, so the traffic should flow this way in the case where there's two different sources for a prefix, one coming from AS4 and one coming from AS2. It'll prefer the AS2 path. You can use local preference to configure your autonomous system to select a certain exit point. Instead of configuring wait on each router, like if you had a Cisco router, you could use local preference because it is exchanged on all internal BGP routers. By increasing the local preference to 800, you can make AS1 send all the traffic towards AS2. A well-known discretionary BGP attribute must be recognized by all BGP routers per RFC, but its presence in a BGP update is optional. So he's going to give us a topology to work with, which I've already copied and pasted over to GNS3 over here. Sorry, give me a second. I have someone dropping me off coffee in a moment, so I might have to take a break at any given time. Let's see, in this picture, we have 2 autonomous systems. R1 will advertise networks 1.1.1.0/24 to AS2, which is this, and R4. And R4 will have to make a choice when it wants to reach this network and go through routers R2 or R3, depending on how the local preference attribute influences this. So let's start with dropping off some nodes. I'm just going to set it on top. So we have router 1 right there, router 2 is on top, router 3 is right here. Should actually turn on snap options. There we go, make it nice and clean. Then we'll have R4 right there. Let's see, FA00 to F20, F10 to F00. Here we have F20 to F10. Over here we have F2. Wait, how's that possible? Are you guys seeing the same thing I'm seeing? So over here, he's using fast Ethernet 2/0. And over here, he's also using F2/0. I think he made a mistake with this diagram. So I'm just going to choose F30 to F00. Alright, so we're going to turn on all these nodes, and we'll connect to all of them with a console. right, awesome. All right, let's configure some interfaces. Configure T. We'll configure the Fast Ethernet 00 interface, IP address of 192.168.12.1. Subnet mask of a /24 all around. Everything, every interface, every IP interface is a /24. Turn it up. Okay, 0 or 10. IP address 192.168.13.1. No shut. And interface loopback 0 with an IP address of 1.1.1.1. And then router BGP. Oops, router BGP with autonomous system number 1. And we'll do a neighbor statement to 192.168.12.2. Remote AS 2. Neighbor 192.168.13.3 with remote AS 2. I think that should be it. And at some point, it's probably going to want us to set the... Actually, the local preference will not be set at R1. It will be set at R2 and R3. So I think I am done configuring here. Do right. All right, let's head on over to R2. Configure FA20 with an IP address of 192.168.12.2/24. No shut. Interface FA30. IP address 192.168.24.2. No shut that. And all right, I think that's all the interfaces. So let's configure BGP autonomous system number 2. Do a neighbor statement to R1 with 192.168.12.1. Remote AS 1. Neighbor 192.168.24.4. And the remote AS is 2. And right mem. And R3 will have int FA00, IP address 192.168.13. Oops. .3. Same subnet mask. No show. Did I do that? Oh yeah, my too many numbers here. Too many numbers. No shut. And interface F20 with an IP address of 192.168.34.3. All right, no shut that. And let's see. Router BGP. Autonomous system 2, configure the neighbor addresses 92.168.13.1 for router 1 with remote AS 1, and the other neighbor is an IBGP connection 68.34.4 with the remote AS of 2. And right mem. Alright, lastly we have router 4. Configure terminal interface. We're going to configure is FA00 with IP address 192.168.24.4. Same subnet mask. No shut. IP address 192.168.34. Oh, sorry, I didn't even enter an interface. FA10. IP address 192.168.34.4. The subnet mask and we'll do a no shot. Cool. Now I configure BGP. So we have one neighbor over at R2, the address of 168.24.2. Oops, with remote AS to neighbor 192.168.34.3 with remote AS 3. All right, do right mem. Oh, and R1 is supposed to advertise the 1.1.1.0 network in BGP, so I'll do that right now. Network 1.1.1.0 with mask 255.255.255.0. All right. Now going back to router 4. Looks like the peer is in the wrong autonomous system number. I wonder why. Let's figure it out. So this is going to router 3, and I'm expecting. Yeah, there's my problem right there. I'm highlighting it. So I put remote autonomous system number 3 when it actually should be 2. So let me fix that right now. Neighbor. I hope this just overwrites it. 168.34.3 remote AS2. And yeah, let's see if that fixes the problem. Show IPBGP. Well, I'm getting the 1.1.1 network from R2. Here, IPBGP star. How about that? Let's reset everything. Do show run section BGP. Oops. Yep, looks right. 24 and 34. Select your route. Doesn't look like 1.1.1.0 is propagating. Probably because 1.1.1.0, this network is not on the table. Why is it not on the table? But if we go over to router, okay, I will take a break. I will resume in a moment. BRB. Alright, I'm back and I have some coffee from my friend Mark. It's made from, let's see, Point Arena, California, which Mark tells me has a population of less than 200. So let's see how good their coffee is. Alright, where are we? Show IP route. Let's see if the one network is there. So it's there. And if it's there, should be at R3 as well. Show IP route. It's not at R3. Why isn't it at R3? Show IP BGP summary. Looks like the BGP connection between R1 and R3 is not up for some reason. So let's try to figure out why. Show run interface FA00. It's no shut. It's configured at the correct IP address. Show run section BGP. We have neighbor 192.168.13.1 with remote AS1, so that is also correct. Maybe the issue is over here. Show run interface F10. The IP looks correct. Show run section BGP. All right, let's see. This looks correct too. 13.3. Why is it not forming a relationship? Show IP BGP neighbor. Show IP BGP summary. Like, it's still inactive. Why is that? Debug IP BGP. What's going on here? Am I able to ping 192.168.13.3? I am not able to ping it, but for what reason? Show route 192.168. Show IP route 192.168.13.3. It's directly connected via that's Ethernet 1/0. What do I try to ping myself? And I know it'll work unless something's really up. Show IP route 192.168.13.1. The network is not in the table. Why is it not in the table? Show run. Oh wait, I'm at R2. Should be at R3. Show IP route 192.168.13.1. Yep. Show or ping 192.168.13.1. But the ping is not coming across. Why is that? What's wrong with this? show debug IP BGP. It's not responding. Why is that? Why are you not responding? R2 is up there, R3 is down here, R4 is there. Is it messed up? It's only seeing R4. Why is that? Why is that? Is there something wrong with configurations? Show run int f00. Show IP interface brief. Both IP interfaces are up. I mean, should be a reason why it's not responding. But how about this? IP interface is brief. Int is 00. And what's the difference between these two interfaces? I mean, they're the same and they are the correct IP addresses. Why can't I ping across? Actually, what if it's something to do with GNS3? Maybe I could just turn all of the nodes off and turn back on and see if that would work. Because this is really kind of confusing me. IP interface is brief. Everything's up. Ping 192.168.13.3. This is the most bizarre thing ever. Why is it not working? I'm not R1. I'm looking at F01. Oh, that's why. That is why it should be this interface that should be configured. While Fast Ethernet 1/0 is currently not connected to anything. So there was my problem. And I can actually fix this without changing any configurations, actually. I'll just have to remove one of these nodes, or these links. But I don't think it'll let me do it while they're live. So I'm going to shut them all down. Move this node right here. Can I remove this node, or is it not going to let me? Okay, delete. So we have 1/0 is the interface that's configured over here, and we'll connect it to F00. Then I'll turn these on. All right, back to R3. If we do show IP route, we're going to see that, still, why is it not propagating? I was expecting the loopback address of R1 to be in the routing table of R3, but it's not, so let's see what the problem is. 168.14.1. It's pingable now. Show IP BGP neighbor. Oops. Maybe I want just a summary. Okay, so it did form a relationship with both R1 and R4. And it looks like it's received a prefix from R1, although I don't think it knows how to get to R1, and that's probably the reason why it's not showing up. So we'll show IP route 10101. No, it does have an entry. What am I talking about? Show IP route. Yeah, there it is. Nice. Okay. And over at R2, we should see the same thing. Yep. And for R4, we're not going to see it because R4 probably doesn't have a way to get to R1. But let's see how it's configured here. All right, so it looks like he also has a loopback interface configured for R2. Below 0. IP address 2.2.2.2. Router OSPF 1. Network 192.168.24.0.0.0.255. Area 0. Network 2.2.2.0.0.0.0.255. Area 0. Over at R3, we have another interface that's configured. And OSPF is also configured. 192.168.34.0.0.0.255 area 0 or 3.3.3.0 0. We have interface loopback 0. Oops, that's R4. That is the IP address of 4.4.4.4. And R4 is also participating in OSPF. OSPF 1 network 192.168.24.0. Advertise both these links in OSPF. 4.4.4.0, 0.0.255 area 0. BGP. Alright, so we're going to R3 now, and we're going to do router BGP2. Already did the neighbor statement with 192.168.12.1, and that is connecting to, sorry, it's 13.01, and that's connecting to router 1. And for routers two and 4, it's gonna form a BGP relationship using its loopback address. Okay. Neighbor 2.2.2 remote AS 2. Neighbor 2.2.2 update source loopback 0. Neighbor 4.4.4 remote AS2 update source. Oops. Neighbor 4.4.4 update source loopback 0. And for R4, any prefixes that are passed from R3 to R4, and the only one that we're really concerned is 1.1.1/24 from R1. We'll tell R4 to use R3 as a next hop. All right. Okay. And right now, I'm going to go to R2. Pretty much do the same thing. Neighbor 3.3.3 remote autonomous system 2. Neighbor 3.3.3 remote. Why is it not working? Oh, that's probably because we're in. That's probably because we're in OSPF configurations and not BGP. Router BGP. Oops. Router BGP 2. So neighbor 3.3.3 update source loopback 0. Neighbor 4.4.4 remote AS2. Neighbor 4.4.4 update source loopback 0. And we're going to tell R4 that for any prefixes that are passed along from R2, use R2 as a next hop node or router to get to their destination. What is this? 4.4.4.4. Next hop self. All right, so R4 router BGP, or actually, yep, router BGP2, and we'll have a neighbor 222 with remote AS2, neighbor 2.2.2, update source, loopback 0, then neighbor 3.3.3, remote AS3, neighbor 3.3.3, update source, loopback 0, and let num, and show IPBGP summary. .3.3.3 is stuck in idle. So because of that, I think I'll have to look at the configurations here. Show IP summary. It's active now. Show run section BGP. So this looks correct. Yeah. Yep. Let's do a brief. Our interfaces are up, so that shouldn't be the problem. What are OSPF? Show IP route 4.4. Okay, and then does R4 have a way to R3? Show IP route 3.3.3. Yeah, it does. Show IP. Show BGP, or show IP BGP summary. Is it still in active state? It's in idle again, so something's up. Let me try that and see if that does anything. Yep, something's still up. Oh. In this case, I am going to try not to waste too much more time, and I'm going to try to cheat here and make sure my configurations are typo free. That might be why there's an issue. Alright, so for R4, show run and loopback 0. That looks good. Section SPF. Aside from these two extra commands, everything looks... Oh, there's my problem right here. I set it as Remote Autonomous System 3, when it should actually be 2. So, let's fix that. Oops. Router BGP 2, neighbor 3.3.3, remote AS2. Alright, at any point now it should come up. Show IP BGP summary. It's an active state. As long as it doesn't fall back to idle, I'm happy. Come on, come on. There it is. So it established. And now R4 should have the route 1.1.1.0/24 in its routing table from both R3 and R2. Show IP route. Actually, so it's seeing it from router 3, but why not router 2? Alright, so show IP BGP. Oh yeah, it is. I made a mistake. So it does see it from R3 and R2, and this is the BGP table as opposed to the routing table, which would only contain one entry. And it looks like the local preference is set at 100 by default on all 4 entries. So in this case, if he sets it so that well, currently it prefers router 3, but if I want R4 to prefer router 2, then I'd set the local preference at R3. I think what this does is it sets it globally for R3 instead of a particular neighbor. Okay. So once I do that, and if I look at the BGP table again, the preferred route should switch over to wait, it was already at R3. And now has a weight of, or local preference of 600. But what if I wanted it to prefer router 2? Then I would go to router 2, and I would configure our BGP2 with BGP default local preference as, let's say, 700, which is higher. And if I go back to R4, there we go. Now it's going to prefer router 2. Sweet. Right mem here, and right mem here, and right mem here. And it looks like R1's frozen. Alright, what else? What else is he going to go through? He's going to go to router 3 and remove the local preference. And he's going to try to accomplish the same thing but with a route map. So he's going to create a route map with the name of local preference. That is permit with sequence number 10. It's going to set the local preference 700. And with router 3, he's going to continue with stating that R1 will have a route map applied to it. And it is a local preference route map, which sets its prefixes to have an attribute local preference value of 700, and that would be applied ingress. So in that case, let me just do this. Let me just follow the same thing that he did. So right now R4 is preferring R2, but we're going to take it back to R3. R2. Route map, local pref, permit 10, set local preference 2. Let's do 900. And then go to router BGP 2, neighbor 192.168.13.1. Apply a route map, namely local pref ingress. And in that case, let's see what happens. I guess what we're learning is that this global command, BGP default local preference, does not take precedence over a route map. So in that case, I would have to remove the statement in order to get this to work. So let's go back to, where were we? R3. Configure T. Router BGP 2. And we'll do no BGP default local preference 600. Or whatever it was at. I think it was at 600, but we can check. We can check. Yep, it was at 600. Alright, so if we do that, the local preference changes back to 100. Did I do a typo? Or is it because this lab needs to be reset? I'm actually not sure. Through IP BGP. Clear IP BGP. Yeah, so what I had to do was I had to clear the BGP cache, and when I did that, it actually updated the local preference to 900 on prefixes that were coming from router 3. So before, as I'm highlighting here, it was preferring router 2 as the next hop to 1.1.1/24, but over here, after I did the clear IPBGP asterisk, it clears the cache, and now it's correct. It's actually, we're seeing the difference when we applied the route map to the R1 neighbor. Yeah. All right. I think that is it for this lesson. Thank you for watching. I will start up another stream for the next lesson, which looks like it's going to be for AS path prepending. Thanks.